And properties got changed. Okay. Okay, there it goes. Hey there, strangers. Welcome back to another 2 p.m. PST Twitch stream. I'm your host, Strange Bro Jim, and today we are going to be getting back into some Pega studying. For those of you that have been watching me on Twitch, I mean, for those of you watching me on YouTube, if you've been kind of being steady with my videos, and I apologize for the delay on putting out some new ones. Just haven't been in the mood lately to do any kind of videos or anything, to be honest. Guess I got myself into a pretty large funk and didn't feel like doing much of anything, really. A lot of things just kind of built up around here, and it just kind of put a lot of weight on my shoulders. So I just kind of needed to take a break. I wasn't expecting to go this long, but at the same time, I wasn't really doing much to alleviate the situation that I was in either. So I was just kind of digging myself a little bit more into a hole. So apologies on that. This is my attempt to try to get back into the swing of things. So for those of you that, maybe you're watching this like months from now, from the last video, from the previous video, then you probably won't need to worry about it too much on YouTube. But for those of you that are, trying to stay consistent and watching me on Twitch, then apologies for the delay. Okay. So we're going to continue with our Pega study. We still have the low-code app builder to work through. We still have the business architect modules to go through, and we have all the system architect modules to get through. So we'll go ahead and we'll tackle the next portion of the low-code app builder now. In an hour, I'm going to be going into the just chatting and talking more there. Obviously, those of you that are watching it on YouTube, you don't necessarily need to worry about that. Feel free to come on over to Twitch if you want to, see everything else that happens. And then we got Warframe later tonight, which I'll discuss more about Warframe in my just chatting and during Warframe itself. So hold off any questions on that for later. If you're watching this on Twitch anyway. Okay. Let me go ahead and get into the low-code app builder extended right at this moment in time. We handled everything up to the refining and angle workbench backlog. So we're going to move on to sizing a Pega platform project. You got 2 topics here, 10 minutes each. We'll see about trying to get through both of them, but I doubt it. So let's just focus on the first one here, which is roles on the Pega project. Depending on the project goal, you assemble a mix of team members and roles. Some projects are small in scope and can be completed by a small team or even a single citizen developer. Other projects are more expensive, perhaps part of a broad enterprise-wide digital transformation, and may require specialized resources with additional skills in application development on Pega platform. In the following image, click the plus icons to read about the common roles found on larger Pega projects. The following image displays an example of roles. Role title, responsibilities, skills may vary across companies and projects, depending on resource availability, project scope, and other factors. So, specialty architects engage with project development depending on project needs and skills alignment. For example, a UX architect may be needed to design complex user views, and deployment architect may be needed to handle application development and deployment. Not quite sure what UX stands for. Off the top of my head again. It's not user interface because that's UI. I'm not quite sure what the X stands for again. Well, system administrator and IT resources provides expertise as needed, for example, on infrastructure, security, or integration. Citizen developers. Citizen developers are non-technical business users who participate in low-code application development and deployment in App Studio. These developers bring valuable knowledge about business needs and may perform the role of SME on a small Pega project. Um, Citizen developers work on small-scale applications that are less widely used than enterprise applications. For example, a citizen developer creates a system to record feedback and assign tasks to their team. Performing the role of SME. Oh, subject matter expert. Yeah, there it is. Okay. They probably should have the subject matter expert, spelled out here as well, but whatever. Okay, consulting solutions executive provides thought leadership, oversees project delivery and direction, establishes best practices and governance. Project delivery leader provides overall project plan and delivery guidance. Owns the product backlog and prioritization of backlog items, creates acceptance criteria. Promotes and supports Scrum and ensures that all team members understand Scrum theory and practices, facilitates Scrum events as needed. System architect designs and configures the application. Lead or principal architects design the overall architecture. Senior and system architects configure assets such as user interface forms and automated decisions. They contribute object-oriented design and technical implementation skills. The role titles described by Pega may be referred to by different names depending on the organization implementing the project. So this is basically what I'm working towards. Oh, I forgot to mention. Um, well, here let me finish off these last three, and then I'll get to my last my thought line that I forgot to talk about. So, subject matter expert has deep understanding of a particular business topic or domain. The SME works with the project team to convey business needs and helps validate information accurately. Business architect works with subject matter experts and stakeholders to understand business needs. In a Pega platform application, business architects define business rules, service level agreements, and processes. And then we have the quality assurance. Creates and executes functional performance test scripts, participates as part of the Scrum team. Okay. Um, I forgot to mention. um, uh, before anybody, you know, has any kind of um, thought line along, I just want to let everybody know that um, this is this is for my own benefit. Okay, for the system architect certification. Okay, I'm putting these videos out there so maybe others can benefit off of the fact that I'm also, working towards that particular certification. If you can get some amount of benefit from it, that's great. That's awesome. If you have any kind of questions or anything like that, feel free to put them in, the comment section if you're watching this on YouTube, right? This is not endorsed by Pega. I don't have their blessing on this or anything along those lines. Um, so I'm not getting any kind of like benefit from them whatsoever. Okay, just letting you know. Okay. Also, um, when it comes to overall training, I am not an instructor. I'm not an instructor. Okay, I don't pretend to be an instructor. This is not meant to be an instructor-led training. So don't think of it as such. Okay, if you can afford the instructor-led training, then I would suggest that you do so. Hopefully, you'll have a decent instructor that will teach you everything that you need to know about, you know, what you're going for, that particular certification. Hopefully. My one instructor that I had wasn't that great, in mine and others' opinions. I wasn't the only one that was having a rough time with the guy. But it was from our company and not necessarily from Pega, even though technically he was an authorized trainer. Whatever. Um, but I'm not an authorized trainer, so don't put that on top of me. Okay, just letting you know. You know, I can't provide you know too in depth. I've already kind of struggled with some of the topics that they presented in the certification process in their academy here. Um, so if anybody has insight on those topics, such as the what was it, the data model. That one video was a lot of information that I just was having a hard time with. So you can check back on that video. It's in my playlist. It's on my YouTube channel. So check that out. So I just wanted to let you folks know about that. I'm working towards the certification for the system architect. I may try to get the business architect as well, seeing that it's pretty much the same for the most part. I mean, there's only two modules in the business architect that's different from the system. The system has a lot more modules and challenges that it goes through, but there are two modules in business that is not covered. Um, we'll go through those after we're done with the extended, and uh, then everybody that is working towards their business architect, um, obviously go back through, study everything, and so on and so forth to try to, get yourself established on that. Hey there, Vinny, how you doing? Been a long time, I know. How you doing? Oh yeah. Um, we're actually fairly close to the end on this one. We might be able to get to the second part. It is best practice to have trained and certified Pega clients work as part of the project team alongside experienced Pega resources. Pega clients gain proficiency that enables them to support and expand their application moving forward. I'm good. Happy to see you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Happy to see you again as well. Okay. Overlap of role tests. Tasks and responsibilities for each role may overlap or are accomplished by multiple roles. For example, on a small project, a lead system architect may also perform the duties of the deployment architect, checking knowledge with the following interaction. All right. Mr. Andrews is a non-technical business user with subject matter expertise who participates in the application development. Mr. Andrews can be described as a citizen developer. Mm, yeah, that sounds true to me. Yeah. Um, yeah, I'll be discussing my plans for today on Warframe in about 30 minutes there, Vinny. So be prepared for that one. Okay. Um, we're gonna move on to the next topic here because I think that was fairly short. We were able to kind of get through that within the 10 minutes that they were talking about. So, oh, there's a lot of information here. So, all right, the estimator tool. Is that the right one? Hold on. Yeah, okay. You can estimate the development effort of one or more releases of your application in an intuitive and automated way. In App Studio, provide information about your planned application, such as the implementation methodology, the number and complexity of features that you want to implement, and how many Scrum teams are involved. Project Estimator automatically calculates the predicted project duration. To prepare an estimate, you use the Estimator tool to specify details about your organization and implementation team. For example, whether you plan to use an existing development environment or deploy your application on Pega Cloud, the project estimator returns the result in weeks and hours so that you can conveniently plan the work. You can prepare estimations for the selected release of your application or consider all the planned releases to get a holistic view of your project development. In the following image, click the plus icons to learn more about the configuration options for the estimator tool. So basically, if you have an idea as to um, what you what you're kind of looking at, like the business kind of gives you everything that you need to work on, then you can use the estimator to kind of get a rough idea as to how long it potentially might take. Not to say that it's completely accurate, and it's meant to be an estimator. So, all right. So, release. Select a specific release: MLP1, MLP2, MLPN, future, unplanned, all, or custom to view the estimate for that release. Okay, delivery. Select the implementation method that your development team uses: Scrum, Agile, or Waterfall Other. Um, would recommend using just the Scrum Agile over the Waterfall. Now, there might be other uh, implementation methods that are out there that I don't really know about. I mean, there's, as computer science continues to develop and evolve, then other styles of, how you go about the process of, creating your application will advance in time as well. Okay, that will constantly change. So Um, so there might be in the future something that might be better than Scrum. Scrum is definitely better than the original version of Waterfall. We've already kind of discussed that in previous videos. So, um, although, you know, if you break it down, Scrum is just a lot of mini waterfalls. Okay, if you consider it that way. Okay, so Scrum Agile is kind of just comprised of a lot of small, teeny tiny waterfalls for each portion of the application. Not the application as a whole, but just the small ones. You know, every little part of the application. You can kind of put that down into their own individual waterfalls, and then you can kind of combine them all together into the one application, right? So that is in a sense what agile is kind of all about, you know, sort of, you know, because even waterfall is, um, you know, doesn't really work completely with agile, okay? Um, because with agile you can go back up the waterfall. So, all right, number of teams. Enter a number of Scrum teams that are working on the project. A typical Scrum team consists of one business architect, one lead system architect, three system architects, two testers from the client, one part-time UX designer. You can reduce the development duration with more teams. For example, two teams may take half as long as one team to develop an application. True, but you have to have a lot of um, you're gonna have to maintain a lot of communication between the both of the teams, because if you don't get um, if you're not um, if you're not getting your like the variables named correctly on one team versus the other, um, capitalization or something like that, uh, like one team uses a camel case and the other doesn't, whatever, then, you could have a lot of problems. You could potentially cause yourself more headaches in the future than anything else. So make sure that those two teams can work well with each other. If they don't, then, well, you're going to have some problems. For Scrum Agile projects, you rate the team members' familiarity with Scrum. Select a value that describes the team's experience with the estimated effort for the Scrum project. For example, medium maturity increases the estimated effort and duration by 7.5, while low maturity increases the estimated effort and duration by 15%. Scrum maturity is only an option for the Scrum Agile delivery method. All right. So if everybody's very familiar with the maturity, then the estimated effort and duration might not matter all that much. But staffing model. Select a staffing model that indicates the level of cooperation between the client and Pega. If you use Pega's co-production model, the consultants provided by a Pega or a Pega partner are supplemented with resources from the client. Co-production immerses client resources and Pega application development during the learning process, helping clients become proficient at building Pega application more quickly. All right. Environment. Select the environment in which you want to deploy the application. For example, a new on-premise environment increases the estimated effort and duration by 10%. Organization complexity. Select an option that indicates how many levels and regulations your organization has. Organizations with high complexity typically must comply with external regulations and additional validation requirements. For example, government organizations and those in financial, healthcare, and pharmaceutical industries often have high organizational complexity because of the large bureaucratic structures and significant oversight required. Especially those in, healthcare, pharmaceuticals, financial, any, any bug that happens in those could, you know, well, potentially kill a person or, financially ruin them or something along those lines. So, yeah, you want to have significant oversight on those particular organizations, industries. So, um, and obviously you don't necessarily want to have any kind of bugs in your government either, but, one would hope that they have like the best and brightest inside the government, but, we'll leave that one alone. Leave that one alone. All right. Uh, yeah, 10-foot pole on that one. Data import effort. Select the required effort to mitigate uh, or migrate data from a legacy system to a new Pega system. None. Low increases the estimated effort and duration by 10%. Medium increases the estimated effort and duration by 20%. And high increases the estimated effort and duration by 30%. So if you're basically converting like a like an old system, like an old banking system or something like that, to a Pega system, and they don't have anything there, you know, it's a new Pega system. They've never touched Pega before or anything along those lines. And obviously, the change from their old legacy system into Pega is going to take a while, you know. So, um, so you need to have, more hours to handle that change from the old legacy system, database, what have you, websites into the Pega system. So, you know, so your business architect really needs to understand, um, what needs to happen here. You know, um, is the business that you're working with completely new to Pega? And if they're completely new to Pega, then obviously you're probably going to want to be using high on that. Maybe they only have like one application or something like that, but they want to convert some old other additional legacy, you know, to project, and then maybe a medium. Maybe they have a lot of Pega applications, but they still have this one legacy or something like that. So maybe a low, or maybe they're just completely Pega and you're just adding another feature into it or something like that. Then, you know, most likely none. That kind of thing. So, inventory assets. System uses inventory assets to create application development estimates. The inventory includes personas, channels, features, data that are all case types in your application and the relationships between these assets. The case type, data object, persona, and channel information that is used by the estimator comes from the workflow of the case lifecycle. The features come from the application profile feature map. Items marked as complete are not included as part of the estimated effort. So, I mean, if you already have some, case types, personas, channels, and so on and so forth, then obviously, that gets factored in. You won't need to necessarily create those, you know, while on the job, right? Um, so if you have more case types, personas, channels that you can use, then the total number of hours might not be as much. So after you estimate your work, you can share the calculations outside of Pega platform by exporting the results to an Excel file. For example, you want to discuss the estimations with your stakeholders to bring more transparency and accuracy to the planning project. Always good. To use the estimator, you first need to define the main elements of your application. Create a case type and define the case lifecycle by adding stages, processes, and steps. Define personas that represent users of your application. Create data objects that visualize the information that your cases require to reach the resolution stage. Add features that represent usable functionalities in your application. You then assign the channels and data objects to the release to establish a rough estimate of the work plan for each release. By default, Pega Platform provides 4 default releases. The application profile also provides an unplanned release option, which incorporates elements that do not have release explicitly defined. To build a more complex project roadmap, you can also add custom releases from the Actions menu in the upper right corner of the application profile landing page. Okay, check your knowledge with the following interaction. Which 3 elements need to be defined before you can estimate the project size and scope with the estimator? Okay. Well, we already saw personas as being one of them. We saw case type as another. We didn't see fields, and I don't remember work queue, so I believe it was data objects. Yeah. So let me reload and let me pick the work queue and the fields, just to kind of show you, what they say in that particular, you know, like I said, sometimes they describe why here. So work queue do not need to be defined before estimated project size and scope with the estimator tool. Okay, well that doesn't really tell you much. Fields do not need to be defined. Okay, well I was kind of hoping for a little bit more there, to be honest. Um, provide more of a why than, hey, it's just not needed. Well, why is it not needed? That's what I would be looking for. Why are these, you know, um, why are these kind of being needed? So, why do you want, data objects? Why do you want personas? Why do you need case types? You know, provide the whys. Because this is just you're doing a copy and paste here. You know, you know, be defined before estimating the project size and scope with the estimator tool. These are copy and pastes. They're really not changing much. So, oh, check your knowledge with the following interaction. Okay, well, that's interesting that we have two check and 2 knowledge checks one after another, but sure. Drag the correct option to the matching field and then click check answer to verify your selections. Okay, so Implementation methodology, Scrum Agile. Um, think that's what I'm kind of thinking right at this moment in time. Methodology should be Scrum Agile, or at least I believe it's Scrum Agile. It's definitely, methodology and agile just pretty much go hand in hand. So I mean, if it's not this, then I'd be like, wait, what? I'd be very confused if it wasn't. Okay, just saying. I'm pretty much 100% on that one. So, um, release, I'm not quite sure about. Um, I'm kind of leaning towards, either Pega Cloud or MLP, and on this one, I'm figuring Pega Cloud because typically you want the applications to be on the Pega Cloud, so that it can be used pretty much anywhere for the most part, right? So that's what I'm kind of leaning towards on that. I'm not 100%, but that's that's how I'm kind of leaning. Um, but at the same time, it could be under the deploy application as well. Now, the staffing model, I'm assuming is the co-production, meaning that you want to have um, the the staff working together to build the application. So I'm figuring co-production is pretty much you know is co-production. There's really nothing else there. I don't see Pega Cloud as staffing model. I don't see MLPN as a staffing model. So I'm pretty much 100% going with co-production on this one. Just saying. So I'm not 100% sure on both of these two at this time. So let's check the answer. Yeah, I was afraid of that. Um, so Scrum Agile, co-production, those were correct. So we're deploying the application on the Pega Cloud, and the the type of release or the like the um, whenever you release a new product, you have like a numerical um, value to it, a version number. So I can see that as well. So I get it. So but I kind of wonder. Hmm, I'm not 100%. Did they cover this? Deploy your application on Pega Cloud. Okay, yeah, they did. Okay. And then, of course, you have the MLPN, which, they state right up here, provides for default releases. So, yeah. They don't repeat it that often, so hence the reason why you really want to kind of go back through this sometimes and really kind of, get all the nuances in these and everything provided here. So, okay, we got 10 more minutes left, and I'm already done with both of these topics. So, I may just go ahead and move on to the module quiz here because it's only 5 minutes, so probably going to be seeing about 3 questions. Yep. So, um, okay. Which two assets, not three, two assets are assigned to a release and used to estimate the project scope and duration? So, I mean, we've already kind of figured that the case types and data objects were part of the assets. Although I thought that channels were also an asset. Wait, what? Case types are not assigned to a release to estimate the duration? Huh? Wait a second. Hold on. I mean, there's case types right there. Create a case type, define the case life cycle by adding stages, processes, and steps. So I mean, it's all there in the estimator. So which two assets are assigned to a release and used to estimate the project scope and duration? Why, case types aren't there for some reason? Huh? I mean, obviously we got data objects correct. That was fine. It's not work groups. It's not channels. Maybe processes, although that's part of case types. So, no, it's not processes either. What the hell are they? What are they considering here? Channels? I don't know. We'll find out here in just a minute. Okay. Has a deep knowledge of a particular business topic or domain. That's typically the subject matter expert. Non-technical business user who participates in application development. That's the citizen developer. Creates acceptance criteria and prioritizes backlog items. I believe that's more the product owner. Creates and executes functional and performs test scripts. Yep, so that's quality assurance. So, yep, there we go. All right. Gateway Medical Incorporated is developing a large project guided by a hmm, probably subject matter experts. On the large project, Catherine serves as blank, designing the overall application structure and managing a team of, so they're probably project delivery leader. Um, oh wait, no, hold on. Ryan serves as the project delivery leader, working directly with business architect and stakeholders to understand business needs. That's what I would imagine. Um, you want the lead system architect, designing the overall application structure and managing a team of system architects. That should be good. Okay, apparently I was wrong. Okay, so most likely project delivery leader is up there. We have a business architect there, works directly with subject matter experts and stakeholders. So that should be it. Okay. So come on, start the test back over again. So so we have business architect working with subject matter experts and stakeholders to understand business needs. You have the project delivery leader, um, and then you have the lead system architect managing a team of system architects. So subject matter expert, citizen developer, product owner, and test scripts. And for some reason they did channels and data objects. Okay. Um, let me go back to the estimator here. I mean, channels is there as well as data objects, but to use the estimator, you first need to define the main elements of your application. You then assign the channels and data objects to a release to establish a rough estimate of the work plan for each release. Hmm. Maybe I'm just having a hard time with this because, you know, you're still adding in items by type into the full estimator here. Not just channels and data objects. You're adding in case types, personas, attachments, features. So it's not just these two that is used here. So I don't know. Maybe I'm having a hard time with this particular part of what they're kind of aiming for here. Um, why does channels and data objects take priority over everything else? Because you can still use, if you're like, um, if you're like creating a brand new application and you need to add in, some of your case type, your previous case types or something like that, then that should be, you know, figured into your, overall complexity and time plan. So that feels a little off. Hmm. Okay. In the module quiz, got hit with the question about uh, this particular statement. What I'm wondering is that other items are also added into the estimator to figure out the amount of time needed for the overall project, such as case types and personas. Why does channel and data objects get priority and not the others? Okay. I, you know, I kind of sent that question in because, you know, maybe, if it's confusing to me, then maybe it's it might be something odd for someone else later. Like, you know, why are they only showing channels and data objects when they have items by type with, case types, personas, attachments, and features also added into the estimator. So that's why I'm kind of confused by that. That's all. Um, Everything else about this particular module was perfectly fine, so I didn't really have too much of an issue with everything there. Um, so, okay. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and close on down here there, folks. We're going to go ahead and move on to the just chatting portion. So for those of you that are watching on YouTube, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Feel free to ask any kind of questions or, um, if you feel that you have an answer to some of my questions, I would greatly appreciate your insight. Um, anyone from Pega or expert Pega developers would I welcome your insight on some of this. So feel free to provide it because I would be greatly appreciative of it. Plus, if you add in any additional comments in the comment section, then not only would it help me, but it might help out someone else that might also be slightly confused. So there's only so much that I can do to provide um, knowledge, to those that are watching the videos. So, um, you know, so I encourage questions. Please feel free. You know, if you're not really understanding what's going on there or any of my videos, if you're not really understanding everything that's going on, if you're if you're not sure about, one particular topic or something along those lines, feel free to ask it in those videos because I don't mind trying to answering those questions, okay? Um, you know, no one should be afraid in, their pursuit of knowledge, okay? So, feel free to ask those questions. You might not understand. Maybe it just doesn't click for you. Maybe you need to have a um, different kind of explanation, you know? Um, you know, uh, One of the things that I've often liked about math, for example, is that you can you can try to explain math differently, so that maybe you're not really understanding the concept of something. Okay, maybe you need to have a different change of description. Okay, everybody doesn't learn the same way, you know, all the time. Okay, you can't fit everybody into their square pegs, right? Um, everybody is different in that. Um, so sometimes you might not completely understand, what is being said. So if you have that question, if you're not really understanding what's going on there, then feel free to ask. I'll do my best to try to change it up a little bit so that you can try to understand it a little bit more. If you're not really, if you can't really put down in, well, I mean, I can't really help you if you can't put it down in words. Um, Maybe, um, try to maybe figure out like, what part of the concept that you might be struggling with. That might be helpful. And I'll do what I can. Okay. I can't guarantee that I will be able to answer it properly, but I'll try. Um, you know, like I said, hopefully, if anybody from Pega or, like a system architect or, or senior system architect or lead system architect, if they're watching these videos, maybe they can try to explain those questions better, you know. So, um, and I encourage that. So, um, I'm not, uh, I understand my, I don't have all the answers. Okay. I'm researching, I'm studying, I'm trying to gain more experience in this. Um, so, I don't consider myself an expert in any way on this, but I'm still working towards it. I'm still trying to go towards that goal. Um, so I have no problem on anybody coming in and saying, "Okay, Jim, this is how you need to do it," because I'll appreciate that. Okay, so but we're gonna go ahead and close down the video right now. So do all the YouTube general stuff that is awesome for my channel. That would be great. Um, I would appreciate it. And we'll see you on the next video on that. So take care.